Okay, so XTool sent me this D7W diagnostic system, and I've done quite a few reviews on this channel, mainly of the dongles and that little CReader by Launch. That was actually pretty cool. But this is really going up another level now into something seemingly somewhat semi-professional. So you've got these adapter cables here for, I don't know, other accessories that you can plug in. Some charging cables and whatever else. Also got a dongle. Now, supposedly the W stands for Wi-Fi, and rather than being Bluetooth, this thing is apparently Wi-Fi, which is supposed to increase the speed substantially. Oh, this stuff does not want to play nice, does it? Come off, come out. There we go. Now this is an Android tablet, I believe, and I tell you what, it feels really nice in the hand, like properly nice. Charging cable, charging port up here, USB-C, so that's nice that you can just use a standard connector that you should probably have in your car anyway. And it's got a nice little stand on the back here. See, I do like it a lot. That's very nice. Power button at the top here, and a very familiar looking XTool display, but gee whiz, that it's not particularly bright, and the reflection is really quite nasty. Yeah, this has got an option for remote control. That's kind of cool, although it's now not doing anything. Oh, there we go. Oh, team viewer. Okay, so I guess, you know, you could get someone to remotely log into it with TeamViewer. Okay, that's kind of interesting and cool. Mind you, you could do that with your phone, I guess, but if you were using a Bluetooth dongle, but still nice. And now look at this, it's gone to the Android home screen. So we've even got a web browser. Interesting. How do we go back to the XTool? Oh, so it's just okay. Well, it really is just the app, just like what you got on your phone. So other than being Wi-Fi, I'm not sure what else this is going to give us. Anyway, we're going to plug it into the mighty Triton. This is my work ute, so I'm going to try that first. Then we're going to try it on the Mazda CX-5 of Mellors, and then back to the 200 series. I'm also going to try the A30M, which is the original XTool that I had, the Bluetooth dongle, and we're going to compare the speed and see if there is actually a significant difference between the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi, and we might as well plug in some of the other dongles we've got as well. So, man, it's just so glossy. Can't even, and the brightness is all the way up, and I still barely see what I'm doing. Alright, so we're going to auto scan. We're in the work Triton. So if we try and do a auto scan, these never work on the LandCruiser, but it does work on the Mazda. Ho hum. Okay, not supported. So normally with the Toyota, with the LandCruiser, if I just go to the brand and do auto detection, it'll pick up. Oh, now it's asking for VIN again. Well, okay, so it's got the VIN. Okay, well that's annoying. Well, entering the VIN's obviously not going to help because it had it. Alright, so yeah, well, it's from 2006. What is all this rubbish? Okay, so I found this on the driver's door, and it gives us the model number, and out of that model number I was able to derive the type. Oh god, this screen, jeez Louise. Close this door and see if that helps. Not really, no. So we've managed to get, it's a KK1TL ELUFPR8, and then it's decided that it's a 2.4 diesel, which I believe it is. and it also says that it's a rear wheel drive. Looks like 6A, I suppose, is 6-speed, which it is. A really crappy one at that. Alright, so let's try it now. Still says it's a 2020, of course, but even though all of the updates are installed, so we're going to scan now. Let's see. No, we've still got an error coming up there. I don't know if this is just Mitsubishi being shit or this XTool. Be interesting to see how it goes on the other two cars. It's just a two-wheel drive work ute. It's nothing fancy. It's the base bare model, and it just drives around the city. It does seem like we might have some kind of wheel speed sensor issue. You know what, it has been raining lately, and this thing just constantly triggers the stability control and traction control when you're just driving normally. And the fuel injection, I'm just going to try and clear these and see what happens. Interesting. I'm not entirely sure why I got all these faults, unless there is a wheel speed sensor that's faulty on this thing, but I'm not getting anything on the dash. Oh, I am getting something on the dash. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so I've unplugged the dongle. And now I'm not getting any errors. That's disturbing to say the least. What the frig? Let's try that again. Okay, I just started it again with the dongle plugged in, and now I'm not getting those errors. That is very strange. Alright, well, I'm gonna turn it off. And let's just reconnect this and do another scan and see what's going on. Okay, back through all of this again. Alright, let's try doing another scan and see if it comes up with all those same errors again. Okay, now I get all those errors on the... I'm still getting a wheel speed error. Oh no, what's happened? Oh no, it's still there. I'm still getting multi-point fuel injection error. Fucking how strange. Alright, yeah, cool, not cool. Let's scan it with something else and see what happens. Okay, the trusty XTool A30M, the CReader or CReader, whatever you want to call it. And this one here, I haven't done a review on this one yet. What is that? Kingbolan? Yeah, let's give this one a go. Get rid of those, pull this one out. It's just another Bluetooth reader that actually the same people that gave me the CReader supplied. So let's just stick that in here. Oh, very pretty. Alright, so the software that comes with this is called eDiag, and it's got some similarities to the CReader software, especially the cringy VIN scan ticking sound that, well, inevitably doesn't work with either the LandCruiser or the Mitsubishi. While it's not working, it takes a really long time to not work, which is extremely frustrating.
One eternity later.
And yep, there we go. Failed to read the VIN. At least the XTool read the VIN, it just didn't do anything with it. So we can go through now and try and find Mitsubishi. Interestingly enough, this doesn't seem to download all of those
manufacturers beforehand. I'm not sure if there's a way to do that, but with XTool you can download both on the app and on the tablet all of the different manufacturers beforehand. So if you don't have internet access or phone coverage, when you need to use the scanner, you can still use the scanner. This is potentially a problem if you can't do that on here. So we're going to go through, and it's pretty much the exact same process as with the XTool, with all of these super frustrating selections of all the different types of brands and models and makes and all that kind of stuff. And then we can go and do a health report. It's a little bit gimmicky like the Carly app. Looks all very nice.
MPIG diesel not equipped.
Got these horrible voiceovers that come over, real mechanical sounding, super loud. I'm not even sure why they're there. Don't need that. Oh wow, yeah, that's really loud too. Okay, and so the eDiag has pretty much told us that there is nothing wrong with this car.
Oh well, that was rubbish. I guess. Okay, on to the CReader. Let's see how this one goes. It's just occurred to me that this only has software for Toyotas on it, so you have to pay extra for the other stuff. I wonder what's going to happen when we do a scan. Okay, well, it's actually detected the VIN, has it? Or this screen is much better than the one on that XTool, isn't it? Yeah, it's saying I need the Mitsubishi software. Alright, well, let's just go back and see if we can just do a standard OBD read on this and see what happens. Okay, let's, I suppose, read fault code. No fault codes. Alright, well, that was a waste of time. Looks like we're going to go with the old trusty XTool A30M.
We've got the XTool A30M interface coming up here. We can go through now and select Mitsubishi, just detecting the dongle, which it's picked up no problem at all. Seems to identify the VIN, but again, it's not supported. So now we have to go through and fill out all of this rubbish that we had to do on the D7W and seemingly on all of the scanners for this particular Triton. I'm not quite sure why it's so difficult. Okay, we've got all the stuff in there, so now we should be able to just go through and do a scan on this and see if we get those same errors that we were getting picked up with the D7W. And interestingly enough, it just seems to have come up with exactly the same fault code, so I'm assuming that this vehicle has some kind of problem.
Well, that's really interesting. The XTool A30M is giving me pretty much an identical experience to the D7W. The only difference is that the D7W was really hard to see on the screen, and because I'm using my phone on the A30M, it was easy to see. I also felt like the interface was snappier on the iPhone than on the dedicated tablet for the XTool D7W. So even though the D7W is Wi-Fi, for an experience with this Triton here, was actually faster using the A30M because the ECU is obviously so slow and this bits of shitty. Both of them came up with the same errors. The CReader, well, it's a cool little device if you've got a Toyota, or you're going to pay for the other manufacturers, but the OBD2 generic reading didn't give me diddly poop. This Kingbolan one here, interface was nice, didn't actually do anything for me either. It was basically not reading the system very well, so I don't know. Let's go try it on the Mazda CX-5. That's a 2016 model, so still an older vehicle. Let's see how they perform there. Okay, so we're in the Mazda now, and we're going to see how this thing goes. You can see the reflection of the lights and me and everything's still really bad. Let's do an auto VIN scan. See if this actually works. Oh, look at that. Good old Mazda, hey? Alright, is this, well, I'd say it is, yeah, let's say yes. And we'll just do an automatic scan. Oh my goodness gracious me, look how fast that is. That is, well, that just goes to show that the manufacturer of the vehicle makes a bit of a difference, doesn't it? You've got a basically brand new Mitsubishi out there that is slow as a wet week, and you've got a nearly 10-year-old Mazda, and it is just flying through. Now, we've got a smart start fault here, which I know what that'll be. That'll be a low battery in one of the remotes, because one of the remotes has a flat battery. Yes, that's what that is. That's what passive anti-theft transmitter fault will be, because I need to get a CR2025, I think, battery for that. That's one of those things you always forget to do when you go out. But look at that, that is beautiful. Okay, we'll get out of there. Vehicle information, we've already seen that. Programming and customization, I don't know what. I need to put something else in there to do that. Whole vehicle dynamic detection. Yeah, I don't think we're going to muck around with that at this point in time. All sorts of cool features in here. I'm pretty sure that they're the same as what would be on the other A30M, but we'll have a look in a sec anyway and compare them. So we should still have our bi-directional features, so we can, it is really snappy too, look how quick this is. So we can set our speedo to 120, we can set it to 60, and we can set it to off. So yep, all the bi-directional features work, and it's really snappy and nice. I like that. Let's put in the A30M and just compare it.
Well, just like the D7W, the A30M has picked up the VIN and detected the Mazda CX-5 model and year and everything correctly, and it's going through and scanning. Now, this is where the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth really do start to stand apart, because this ECU is actually nice and quick, as you saw with the D7W, and so now you can see that it's actually lagging behind. You can see that this is substantially slower, percentage-wise, quite a lot. In real life, if you're not doing it all of the time, probably not that much of a big deal. But the Wi-Fi on the D7W certainly is a lot faster than the Bluetooth on the A30M. Now, as far as the functionality goes, it does appear that the D7W does have some more in-depth controls that you can do, more along the lines of probably resetting different computer modules if you've had to replace a module in the car. Not the sort of thing that the average person would want to be doing, but certainly something that might come in handy if you're the type of person that works on a lot of different cars. I'm getting the exact same error as I did on the D7W. It makes perfect sense. I'm getting that low battery on the remote control.
Just for shits and giggles, let's plug this one in and see what happens.
And just like the software on the D7W and the A30M by XTool, this has managed to pick up the CX-5's VIN and get the correct software installed for it. Interestingly enough, it wasn't already installed, but I will say that it installs a heck of a lot quicker than the XTool software does. When there are updates for XTool, it is very, very slow. No matter how fast your internet connection is, it seems to take an awfully long time to do any updates.
FBC, IC, instrument, RBCM, rear box, TCM, transmission, ABS anti-lock brake system, no fault code, ACU audio control, AM, amplifier, BSMR, blind.
Interestingly enough, we did get a fault code on here that we didn't get on the other tool. I'm not sure what that is. Speaker amplifier error doesn't seem to make any sense because there aren't any problems with it. Might just have been a low battery situation at some point, but it certainly is interesting that this is picking up an error that the XTool did not. What that means, I'm not entirely sure. Does that mean this is better, or does it mean that it's picking up things that aren't really supposed to be picked up? I would say that this is probably a good thing, that it's picked up more than the XTool, and that does give a little bit of a tick towards this particular software and this particular Bluetooth dongle. This does seem to also give you a lot of customization and programming options, not as many as the D7W, but quite a substantial more amount of customization than the XTools appear to give. So that is another win. This is offering the same sort of functionality that I get on the Toyota with the CReader, so that would make sense. They're basically the same company behind them, so that is something that is pretty neat and a bit of a tick in the box for the eDiag software. Let's go try the LandCruiser out. All right, we're back in the faithful old Toyota, and we're going to do the same process again, but this time we can actually use the CReader, and it'll be interesting to see how the cabled reader goes versus these Wi-Fi and Bluetooth ones as far as the speed goes. But I have a suspicion that it's not going to be that different, because the old ECU in this thing was developed in 2006, 2007, so it's pretty slow at the best of times, but we'll give it a crack anyway and see what it's like. All right, we're going to start off with the XTool D7W, because that's kind of what this video was about. Got the dongle for that here. Plug that one in. We're going to unplug the ultra gauge, of course. And let's plug this one in. Go. Ignition on. Headlights off. Still gonna love the old Alpine deck with the splash screen that's customizable. Old school. All right, let's fire this bad boy up. Yep, we're still in Mazda mode, and the screen reflection is still god awful. I can tell you right now that this VIN scan is not going to work, but let's give it a crack anyway, just because we've done it on everything else. Auto scan. God, I've only used this, like, well, you've seen what I've done. Look at the fingerprints on this glossy screen already. Oh, that's terrible. Going to be very slow. No matter what I do with this thing, it's just awful to see. Hody hum, hody hum. Oh my God. I don't want to input it manually. This is not going to help. Alright, so we're going to go down to Toyota. Others. Automatic detection. Is that going to work? Well, I got to say, none of the others did that. So, alright, what are we? We're a 2012 to 2015. We don't have a smart key because we're in a poverty pack. Yes, it's a 1VD. Automatic scan. Okay. You see, this is slow because it's not the Bluetooth dongle that's causing the bottleneck. It's the fact that this ECU is just really, really slow. Interested to see what our ECT fault is. Don't normally have one of those. Normally we actually have an ABS VSC fault on this vehicle, which I've never been able to work out what it is or why it's coming up. It never causes any dramas, but that's not there, and the ECT now has a fault, which is probably to do with the lockup kit, but doesn't normally come up, so it'll be interesting to see what that is once we've finished scanning everything. Yeah. The longest part about this Toyota scan is the fact that it's scanning a whole bunch of stuff that the GX doesn't have.
So when it gets to things like rain sensors, and what was the other one that it was sitting at before? I don't even know what it was, but like the navigation system, those things seem to take forever when they're not there. Alright, so that's everything. Let's have a look at this fault here. Ah, it's a pending. Huh, okay, yeah. So it's actually not a code that's been thrown, and it's the P2757, which is the clutch pressure control solenoid control circuit performance. Yeah, that's a normal error that your lockup kits can throw. Generally, when the resistor that's on the lockup kit gets out of sync with what the tolerances are, and that can happen when it gets hot. And the last time I drove this vehicle, we were towing the van back from down south, so that's probably where that's come from. So we're just going to clear that, because that was no doubt going to show up on the dash at some point next time I drive it. It's not a big deal because I can clear it with the ultra gauge while I'm driving. Yeah, anyway, so okay, well, we've got no codes. That's neat. All right, let's go and stick the A30M in, and I bet you that's going to be exactly the same.
Okay, we get exactly the same situation here with the A30M as we did with the D7W on the LandCruiser, and interestingly enough, the speed difference is negligible, if noticeable at all, in real life. Whether it would be worth upgrading to the D7W if all you had was a 200 series LandCruiser, I would say probably not myself. If it was the only car that I had, I would just keep the A30M. I wouldn't worry about the D7W unless I had to do some sort of major repairs on replacing different parts of the computer system or CAN bus system, which I probably wouldn't be doing myself anyway. If you're using it on more modern cars like the Mazda or more modern ECUs, then perhaps it's definitely worth having that extra speed. But we just can't forget how bad that screen is, can we?
CReader by launch, and see how that goes. Still reflective screen, but much clearer though, much brighter. Same problem as before. I remember this touchscreen. The display might be better, but the touchscreen is shite. The touchscreen in the D7W is better than this one. It's just you can't see the bloody thing. Okay, yep, it's a LandCruiser LC200. It's a 12 to 2015 without smart key. Yes. I don't particularly like how it's not telling me what it's doing, it's just giving me a percentage, but see what it comes up with when it's finished. Okay, health report. So now it's got to scan more. Jesus. Okay, so now it's scanning the. Not exactly fast, is it? So we can see by this, I mean, we're connected with a hardwired cable here, and it's not any faster. So that just shows that it's not the Bluetooth or the Wi-Fi or the cable that's slowing this down, or the software. It's just that the ECU is slow as hell, that's all. So, you know, really, what is the benefit with having the Wi-Fi connection in this particular situation?
Okay, all right. Oh, and there's that touch screen just playing up again. All right, let's try that Kingbolan one and see how that goes. Now, this is working very similar to the CReader, as you'd imagine. All the same bings and bongs and sounds. Interestingly enough, it doesn't auto-detect, just like everything else with the LandCruiser. But for all intents and purposes, it does appear to be running in a very similar fashion to the CReader. I imagine that this will give us the same functionality as the CReader did, and we'll find that out in just a minute. Again, even though this is Bluetooth and the CReader is hardwired, there's actually not that much difference in the speed of scanning between the two of these, even though the software is pretty similar. Now, I'd imagine if we had a hardwired connection into the So the Kingbolan eDiag software does allow us to do all of the same things that the CReader did as far as customizing the seatbelt alarm and the light on and off delays and the alarm tones, all those sorts of things. So it's actually a pretty good option if you don't want to get the cabled version. If you do want a wireless version of a diagnostics tool that will be able to do those things on your Toyota. Unfortunately, the downside is it does require that annual subscription, and that to me is a bit of a deal breaker.
So it's interesting, really. With the CReader, it only came with the Toyota software, and I had free updates on that for 12 months. Once those updates ran out, I could still use it, but it wouldn't update anymore. If I wanted to use it with a different brand of car, I then had to pay extra for that brand of software. So that, having a Toyota, and that's kind of handy. It's an older Toyota, so getting updates probably isn't going to give me any more functionality, especially being a poverty pack. So that works really well for me. The advantage to this one is that you would pay your subscription every year, and then you get access seemingly to all of the brands, and you can do, you know, some pretty decent stuff with it. But you're probably not going to need to do those specialist things very often anyway, and that's probably where the A30M still comes in as a bit of a winner. Now, I believe there is a higher end model of this. If I can find out, I'll put it up on the screen, that might give you some lifetime updates, and if that's the case, this might actually be a pretty good competitor to the A30M XTool. As far as the D7W tablet goes, this one here, I really want to like it. I really do. It's just, I mean, the only time I've really had it actually respond faster, or measurably properly faster, is with bidirectional testing. Like if you were standing back trying to test your trailer brake lights on your jet ski trailer or whatever, and you're tapping the lights on and off with your bidirectional testing, it's definitely snappier, and the range is obviously better because it's Wi-Fi and not Bluetooth. But you can still do that with the Bluetooth versions, and so the advantage is somewhat limited. Obviously, you don't need your phone to use it, and the touchscreen is quite nice, and the remote access is kind of cool, but you can still technically do that with a number of different free bits of software on your phone or your iPad or your Android tablet or whatever it is that you're using. The screen's not really that much bigger than, say, an iPhone Pro Max, or if you've got an iPad, you've got a bigger screen. So if you're just using the Bluetooth XTool A30M with an iPad, you've got more real estate and a better touch experience and a clearer screen. Yeah, I probably wouldn't buy it, but I mean, it does have the additional plugs to plug in other bits and pieces to it. I don't know what they are. I tried looking, there's nothing in the manual about what they are or what they do. Doesn't seem like it does anything particularly exciting for me, so I'm just probably going to keep this A30M in the car, because that I can use on pretty much anyone's vehicle. If someone breaks down on the side of the road, or we're away camping with someone, I can plug it in and use it. And then I'll just keep the CReader in here for the Toyota stuff, because if that expires on the subscription and it doesn't update, I don't care. I can still go in and change settings, you know, on the car about seatbelt alarms and auto lock times and all that kind of stuff. So as much as I like this, as far as it's kind of does what the CReader and the A30M do together. So this would actually be kind of an all-in-one sort of unit, really. But if it's going to just revert back to being an OBD2 reader with no special software after the subscription runs out, then it's pointless to me. I don't want it. So there you go. Would I buy the D7W? I don't think I would. Should you buy it? Probably not. Sorry, it's just how it is.